coming off a loss to Nebraska, where it was pretty close, this last week of the season has been really odd. Practice just didn't feel the same. I don't know if guys weren't trying hard or others were giving up, but I really felt like we weren't doing what we were supposed to be doing. We have a chance to beat our rival Minnesota in the last game of the season to solidify ourselves into a bowl game and to get a decent bowl game. But on the other hand, it was a weird week because I got at least a dozen text messages from newspaper guys, internet guys, possibly assistant coaches, and a lot of people were asking me how I felt about the transfer portal. Now, at this moment, I am the number 2 halfback here at Wisconsin, and I was trying to get into the game this week against Minnesota to really boost myself into being the number 1 guy. But at the same time, I'm hearing about offers to other schools, getting paid money, getting paid good NIL deals, especially since my social media presence has grown greatly being here at Wisconsin. But I am undecided, and this is my home school in my home state, and I really thought that I can make a difference here. A lot of times, I just told some of these internet guys that I've thought about the portal, but I don't know where I want to go. So we came out in our last home game against Minnesota, and this was probably the most fun I've had ever, sitting the bench. Yes, I have said that because I did not play against our rival Minnesota. I sat the bench. Coach played the seniors. Coach didn't give me a carry. He didn't give me a chance to block. He didn't give me anything this entire game. And after all those text messages throughout the week, you know what I've decided? Forget this team. I think I'm done here. I think I want to see what's out there, what I can get paid. We ended up losing and finishing the season 6-6. I got a text message from my academic advisor saying I got 3 Ds and 1 F. And coach sent me a text message saying he wanted me to stay after practice this week. But I didn't care. The reason he wanted me to stay after was they need a change at halfback. So there's a possibility going into the bowl game, if we get a bowl game, that I can be the starter, which that would look really good on my resume. But at first I didn't really care, didn't really try, but something clicked, knowing that this was my last shot to stick it to these guys, knowing that after this bowl game, I'm probably out of here. I'm going to go find greener pastures. I'm going to go get paid finally. So in these drills, I got it together. I focused up, and I realized I did exactly what I needed to do to get that number 1 spot. I barely finished the first drill ahead of the game. The second drill, all I had to do was avoid the tackler for a little bit longer. And now here comes my buddy. And I stepped out of bounds before he could even have a chance to get at me. Of course, in this final drill, I knew this was my shot. I knew I could show Coach exactly what he'd be missing, exactly what he'd be getting if we do play in a bowl game. And this gives me one last opportunity to stick it to these teammates and these guys who have hazed me my entire freshman year, who didn't like me because I was going 110% at practice while they were only going 75. Obviously, their NIL deals were more than mine, but I didn't care. I wanted to be the guy. I wanted to be the number one guy in my home state for my home school. And so that's what I did. I took this opportunity to put some big hits on guys, to smash them into the turf, to crush them by making moves that most of them haven't seen me do all season. I scored touchdowns. I broke tackles. I drilled them into oblivion. And they didn't like me. But I didn't care, because I knew exactly what was going to happen after the bowl game. I knew that I would have to take some offers from some teams, and that I'd be going somewhere else where I could make some real money, possibly with my influence. So I put my head down, I worked hard, and I did everything I could to be the number one guy, just so I could stick it to him one last time. Especially to the coaches, to the ones who put me out in pass plays, to the ones who wanted me to be a wide receiver instead of actually running over linebackers and defensive linemen. Yeah, I was ready to stick it to them, and I was ready to get out of Wisconsin. I ended up winning the battle, and Coach announced me as the number one guy going into the bowl game. My social media got boosted after saying that I was the number one guy, especially with all the talk of bowl season. I earned all Big Ten freshman honors in my first season. Again, social media grew. But then my decision came. I had an offer from Army, an offer from Iowa, which I really considered because I would be able to stick it to Wisconsin once a year. But in the end, I ended up signing with Western Kentucky, a team that recruited me out of high school, told me I could be the number one guy down there, and I chose to stay in Wisconsin instead because I wanted to be close to home. But we'll see what happens in the future.